Hello and welcome to Books and Imbalance, the podcast that talks all about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful of mental health in the queer book community. I'm Adria J. Smith.
I'm Amy Spencer.
And I'm Katie Trapp.
So we all have a state of mental health and we often neglect talking about it, or worse yet, we are ashamed to talk about it. So let's break that stigma. We are starting this host episode with just a really quick catch up. So Katie, what's new in your world, in your life?
What is new in my life? Well,
just so everyone knows, we gave her the answer to this question before we asked it. It still has an answer.
We've literally told you what's going on in your life. We've told you what's happening.
That's true. That's true. What is new in my life? Okay. Well, I got a new laptop, as one of you pointed out. I don't remember which one. After having my old one was it 2011? I had grown quite attached to that inanimate object. So it was a really hard day when I realized that she was going to have to be replaced.
I do believe in one of our very early podcasts, so not that long ago, you were bragging about your computer and how old she was and how much you loved her. And then she keeled over and died on you.
Yeah, you would literally give up friends and family before you would give up this laptop.
That's what she
loved it. Yeah. I loved it. Y'all, like, this laptop's more loyal than a lot of people, okay? Like, my best friend is in IT and he has been working on this sucker for years. Like, every time something happened, he'd have to like crack it open and fix it. And she's just been through a lot. She's just been through a lot. So
do we
I don't know
on the mental health of your computer? Because she's been through so much and cracked open and tinkered.
I think the emotional attack, if we want to get like the mental aspect of it, like when I realized that I was going to have to replace it, my poor wife come home to me crying at this, realized I was a mess and I was kind of embarrassed about being a mess, but I realized it wasn't the laptop. It was what I have achieved with the laptop, because I bought it secondhand. It was refurbished right after I got out of my abusive relationship. And I went on to I created my sewing business with it. I did all kinds of like work with what I was doing in my previous career. I wrote 3 books and achieved that kind of like dream with it. And so I used that. That was my first big purchase after the relationship, because she had left me in just like this financial mess. And so like there was I was very proud of being able to get this laptop and build these businesses and become so self-sufficient, yeah. And it's like, I don't know, that was the emotional attachment to it, because it was gone. And I was so proud of it.
But everything that you built is still here.
Yeah, but I guess that was the problem. I know it sounds weird to cry over a laptop, but there was an emotional connection to it that I guess I just been holding on to.
It's not weird to cry over a laptop.
I'm good now, though. I have a new one. And we're working.
She will never replace the old one, but you'll learn to love her in a totally new and different way.
And as
remember to back up your work.
Yes, back up your work. That's a good reminder. I should probably do that today, because I think my computer yelled at me and was like, "You haven't backed me up in 18 days." And I'm like, probably do that. Okay, Amy, what's new in your world?
I don't know. No. Everything's the same. No, so it must be new, right? I don't know. It's busy this time of year, though, for me.
Yeah, for those of us listening, we are recording this in December, on December 15th.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's gonna air in what?
Yeah,
March?
yeah. So, yeah, December is especially busy because obviously, it's Christmas. Yay. I mean, I do like Christmas-ish, but it's also the kiddo's birthday in December, so it's like a double whammy of constant organization, making sure you've got everything twice. Remembering, I bought presents, yay, and then having to go, but what occasion are they for? No idea. So it's been really busy this past couple of weeks. But yeah, I don't know. My laptop hasn't died. It's still here. I'm sure I'll come off this and realise loads of exciting stuff that's happened. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks this past few weeks, which is very rare.
Wonder why.
No, well, yeah. Yes, if anyone is wondering, someone's been releasing a lot of audiobooks this past few weeks.
Oh my God. I just went, this kind of seeps into the next question, but I just went and added all of them to, I have a master schedule, spreadsheet, so that I know when crap's happening. And I just went and added all of the audiobooks for 2024 into my 2024 spreadsheet, and I about died. I'm like, oh my gosh, who thought this was a good idea on any planet? I can't even begin to tell you. And then because I work with publishers for most of them, I don't even get to choose the dates. And so the dates are just handed to me. And then I'm also trying to release books, and I'm like, okay. I will survive 2024. I don't know in what condition I'll end up on the other side in, but yeah. Anyway.
2024 is now going to be called the year of Adrian J. Smith. Wherever you turn.
Wherever you turn, I'm there. I hope not. I am releasing less books, but anyway, that's the next question. But yes, so you have birthdays and Christmas, and then you have multiple family Christmases that you do too.
Oh yeah. So we have so I've got Christmas Day. We're at my in-laws, which apparently I agreed to stay over in the evening for. Now I remember that conversation distinctly very differently to everyone else. Apparently, I believe I said, well, I'd really like to not stay over this year. And apparently they went, oh no, it'll be fine. We can all have a drink. And I was like, but I want to sleep in my own bed. And then I apparently, in my head, stopped the conversation there and thought we'd never agreed to stay over. And it turns out we had. So it turns out Christmas Day evening, we're staying over. But then we're coming back Boxing Day. And it's literally 10 minutes away. So it's not too bad. But equally, because it's only 10 minutes away, I'm going to know my own bed's only 10 minutes away. And then, on a couple of days later, I have my parents coming up. Or one set of my parents coming up for 3 days, 4 days. I don't even know when they're going. So it's a double Christmas. And then I'm going to want to sleep for about 6 months.
6 months.
Not be able to.
That's not thing.
I'm going to want to sleep for 6 months, but not be able to. Because the kids don't go back to school until a lot later than usual, because they don't break up till later than usual, which is great until you realize that it gets tacked on the other end of the school holidays.
Yeah, I mean, my kids are done today. Today is their last day of school for the break, and then they have 2 full weeks off, and they're back on the 2nd of January.
Yeah, ours don't break up till the 22nd of January. No, they don't. Oh my God, that was wrong. They don't break up to the 22nd of December. They don't go back to the 9th of January. It would make Christmas easier if they didn't break up until the 22nd of January. Sorry, kids, back to school tomorrow.
It would be more interesting for sure. So what's up in my world is that I can share this on this podcast because it's not airing until after Christmas. But I got turtles. But I got turtles.
That
I got my
actual turtle,
love how you
actual
say that.
turtles, not some
Turtle.
weird medical condition.
Yeah. They're technically for my kids, it's the Santa gift for the year, but they're really mine, let's be honest, because I have they arrived yesterday in a box from the post office and I had to go collect them. And when I got there, the ladies were like, I put them on my desk so that they would stay warm. But they're about, one's like what, this big and one's like this big. Like, so I think one is a year older than the other one, but they're Southern River Cooters. And so we named one Harry Cooter and one Pink Cooter after the singer.
Oh.
And I'm so excited. And they're so tiny. They're acclimating. That's really what's new in my world, other than this is a crazy time of year with kids and school and work. Day job work is really busy. So
And next month I'm going to buy a new pet just so I have something more exciting to say.
I don't think you need a new pet.
No, that's true.
If you want a new cat, I'll mail you mine.
No, thanks. One's fine. Especially because today the cat got out and I'm not letting her in the lounge because obviously, you know, Christmas tree. And I've managed to keep her out of there for 2 weeks. And then and my partner opened my office door this morning and the cat shot out underneath her legs. And I went, no, don't let him in the lounge because of the Christmas tree. And it was too late. And and then they tried to get the cat out from underneath the Christmas tree. And I'm like, that's not going to work. You're going to have to get Smith to, like, you're not going to be able to grab, like they were under the Christmas tree trying to grab the back end of the cat. And I'm like, that is not going to work. Stop it. Literally, I was mid-sentence and you can all see where this is going. All of a sudden, the tree just went, and I was like,
Oh.
Oh, I wish I was there to see that because I would be laughing my butt off so hard.
I hope there was minimal damage.
There was, well, the tree was fine. The decorations were fine. My temper, maybe not quite so much.
Your stress and anxiety levels.
And then I was like, they were like, my partner was like, I'll help you. I was like, no, it's fine. You go do what you need to do. I'll sort it.
Okay, so Katie, what are you working on book-wise? What's going on book-wise for you?
Book-wise, well, I crashed and burned and just crumbled to ashes for National Novel Writing Month. So it didn't work. Got about halfway through and decided to shift gears. And that got me a little further. And then I got stuck again. So after discussing it with the two of you, I killed off a character. And now life is so much better in my book.
We advocated for murder.
Well, you advocated for trauma bonding.
Well, I mean,
Amy advocated for murder.
there can still be trauma bonding. It's just a different character's trauma bonding.
But it worked. It worked. It's so much better now. It's going to be a paranormal mystery, and so you have to have murder for that. And it's going to be.
Do you? I don't think in the term paranormal mystery you have to have a murder. Like. Yeah.
Maybe not if it's a cozy paranormal.
The
mystery could be anything. You just made it
technically could be considered cozy since neither one of them are police. Neither one of them are in law enforcement. I don't know. We'll see where we go with this. We're doing pretty good right now, though.
And when are you planning on releasing this, Katie?
whenever it finishes. The goal was like because I've been averaging like 5 months per book. And I would like to shrink that a little bit, but I also
Writing time, you mean? Writing time.
well, from writing to finish, like writing
Oh,
to release.
Oh, writing to
So,
release. Okay.
like,
and you
but
were
I only do one at a time.
that's what I was going to ask. You're only doing
I
one.
just cannot. I've tried, and I don't know if it's just like the dyslexia, not
You
because
don't
I'll
have,
think of one thing and then go to another, and it's
you don't have my spreadsheets.
That's what's missing.
no. I need spreadsheets. Don't be surprised when you get messages going, I've messed the spreadsheet up.
It literally goes from like writing to like end publishing, and you just kind of tick the boxes as you go.
Oh,
I stole it from one of my publishers. We'll see. So do you want to speed that up or no?
no, my goal would be to speed it up. Like I would like to go faster. I think sometimes I get in my way. I know I get in my way. I get in my way and
Well, you
I
mean you get in your way as in you get into a rhythm and you don't know how to like speed yourself up in it, or you get in your way like you're your own roadblock.
sometimes I'm my own roadblock. I'll start off really well for a few days and then something happens or I don't know. I rarely ever miss a day of writing. I usually will only take like one day a week where I don't write something, but a lot of times even then I'm still doing something. But I don't know. The best way for me to avoid that is to like stop in the middle of a scene that I know how it's going to go and then I can pick right back up. But if I stop where I don't know where we're going after that, it's like
That's because
no.
you don't outline, right?
I outline enough to know where I'm going, but it usually always changes.
Okay. We have I feel every writer has their own process when it comes to figuring it out, whatever, and you just got to figure out what works best for you, right? And then go with that and improve on that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you said that you stop when you know how it's going to continue, like you make yourself stop because you know how how that bit's going to finish? Do you feel like when you pick it up again, you carry on past that point, or do you get to the point where you know it's going to finish and then stop again?
I usually keep going until like I've gotten really good about going till I know where I'm going to keep going. And it's like I'm at the top of the hill so that I stop where the next scene or what else is about to happen. It's just those times where I don't, it's like, I don't know, it gets so bogged down.
It would drive me nuts to write like that. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. I would be like in a constant state of induced panic. The scene's not in.
No, when I try to do the whole like start to finish, I just sit there and sit there and sit there and it doesn't work.
Oh no, I start and finish a chapter. That's how I work. And if I can't finish the chapter, then I try to finish the scene at least, although my chapters have been shorter, so they're typically one scene now. But if I can't, like last night, I finished writing a chapter and it finished in the middle of the scene, and then the next chapter was the rest of the scene. And I sat there this morning staring at it going,
I've stopped mid dialogue, like right in the middle of a sentence.
I've done it. I've done it. It's not a good, so it's not a good pickup when I get back to it. Anyway, Amy, what are you working on book-wise?
Well, I can answer this question because my ARC copies have just gone out. So they're not going to be ARC copies by the time this goes out. It'll have already been out there for a couple of months. So my ARC copies for The Major Secret have just gone out. So that's kind of exciting. And then and that's due to then get released in January, at the end of January. which means hopefully, and I have made a spreadsheet to help me with my marketing plan. Look at me. So I've planned out when I'm going to put all my stuff out, which social media posts are going when, so I know what I'm doing. It also had when to send my art copies out, and then looked at it before this and realised that I'd already gone off plan. But it's fine because we're going to stick to plan from now on. Yeah, so then come I'll say January, but in reality it'll probably be around like, I don't know, the 26th of December, when I'm already like needing an escape from the family. I might start looking at the next one. Which, to be fair, has already been written, but is going to get rewritten because it's not going to be one book, it's going to be two. So I've got that back, and I need to start like pulling it apart and splitting it out and changing it, ready for later in the year, or later in next year. So yeah. What about you, AJ?
I was like, is it my turn to answer this question? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm stupidly
What's going on in AJ's world?
What's not?
Yeah, what's not going on in AJ's world is the answer. I'm currently, oh my gosh, where are we starting? Okay. Where are we starting? Writing? I stupidly decided to try to finish writing 2 books in the month of December. And then stupidly decided not to really start either one of them for at least a week. So really
last week. Yeah.
Like 3 weeks. One of them I actually have, that I'm solo writing. I've not finished the outline of it, which is quite honestly panicking me, but I think I just needed to start writing it. So I'm about 11 chapters into that, which is like 22,000 words or something. And it'll probably end up being about 100, just because these characters are really slow moving in terms of relationship. It is a contemporary romance. I'm also working on a co-write that I've been working on since like October, September. It's like the slowest co-write I've ever written, or the slowest book I've ever written. It's just, we've had a lot going on in our lives. And so it's kind of like one of us can write a chapter, and then like 3 weeks later, we can write another chapter. But the goal is to finish that by the end of this month, and we're 70K in. And so there's probably about 30, maybe 40, but really closer to 30K left. So that one will be done for sure by the end of December. That's right. Oh, and writing. And I'm trying to write some short stories for some marketing for my newsletter stuff. I'm trying to finish at least 6 short stories before the end of December.
Is AJ aware that there are other months in the year apart from December? Like, you can set a deadline which isn't the end of December. You realise this, right?
Yeah, but the book comes out in the spring. And so the idea is to give these short stories so that it can help market the book, and people will be more interested in purchasing the book, and to reward my newsletter subscribers for being on my newsletter, et cetera, whatever. So I'm trying to write these stories. I have like 1.5 written. There is 12 that are planned for that. Because I'm insane. They're only like 1,000 to 3,000 words, 1,000 to 3,000 words each. So it's not that bad. I'm writing on average right now about 6,000 to 9,000 words a day. On a day that I'm actually at my day job, which isn't awful. So I'm writing about 3,000 in the morning, and then 3,000 in the evening, sometimes 6,000 in the evening. Because that's what you do. But my kids are home next week, so I don't know how this is going to work. Editing wise, I am currently going through copy edits on my Boss's Stalker, which releases in March, and copy edits on a co-write, and then getting those prepped to go to proofreading, which will happen in January for my Boss's Stalker for sure. I don't know about the other one. I have all these audiobooks coming out, which in some ways, because I'm working with a publisher, makes it easier. In other ways, it's a bit more stress inducing because I have less control, and I'm only a slight control freak. So they just emailed me one publisher emailed me and gave me the release date for the next book, which is January 30th. And then the other audio publisher emailed me and gave me the release date for all 5 of them. So I have like 2 in April, 1 in May, and then like 2 in July or something like that. Yeah, it's like April 2nd and April 30th. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be fun and interesting. I don't know what we're doing. But I did just release a book, audiobook 3 days ago. And that's the only thing I'm releasing in the month of December. Yeah, and I'm trying to outline books because I'm trying to finish up all the books that I'm going to be publishing in 2024 because I got really behind and didn't write very much September through November because depression is a jerk. And that's how it happens. But yeah, in my world, there's always massive amounts of things going on because I usually, on average, release about 10 to 12 books a year.
But you're only releasing how many next year?
But what? Yeah, I'm only doing 6 next year. 6 for sure, maybe 7 under this name. And I'll leave it at that.
She just dropped a tease in the middle of the podcast then.
No, I
know
have
what she's
multiple,
talking
have
about,
multiple
but I
pendings.
didn't know if you were still working on it or not.
On what? What?
On under a new pen name.
Yeah, so I have multiple pen names. But I really only ever in this world talk about one because it's the only one that's really relevant. But yeah, I'm trying, I sat down, my husband is my personal assistant when it comes to authoring stuff. And so we sat down the other week and went through goals for 2024. And that was a fun adventure. And just they're right here, they're written down here. I just need to input them into the computer so that I don't lose them, as I tend to lose sheets of paper all the time.
God, I need a spreadsheet.
I love
Maybe a few AJs.
Was it you, Katie, that said I needed a clone?
No, but I don't know if we can handle another one. How many books do we need a year?
I don't know. Was it you, Amy? Somebody told me recently that
I don't ever say that I think I need 2 Adrian J. Smiths in my life.
Somebody told me that I needed a clone, and I said, yeah, a clone other than my daughter, because the running joke is she really is my clone. But if I could be a full-grown adult clone, that would be helpful. Who said that? Now it's going to annoy me. It was in Facebook Messenger. That's why
I'm assuming that the intention would be so your current workload would be halved between 2 of you, when in reality what would happen would we end up with double the amount. Like the intention wouldn't, I don't think, be executed properly.
We just ramp up production.
I feel really called out right now.
Well,
my husband has said the same thing. He's like, the whole reason I was going to be your PA is so that you could have more time to spend more time with the family and the kids, but you just gave me work and then added more work to your load. I was like, sorry. Anyway, it does lead us into the conversation that we're here to talk about today, which is self-care.
That was a very good transition.
That's a really good transition. Self-care. And Amy and I mentioned this, and I think Katie just kind of went, what? And that we kind of consider the term self-care to be a crock, which is the name of this podcast episode, is self-care as a crock. So I just wanted to start first with defining a little bit what self-care is, or where we're starting with the definition of what self-care is, because it's definitely a term that is thrown out a lot right now. What do you guys think? When somebody says go do some self-care, what do you think they mean?
What do you think it means, Katie? Because I think like I know why I don't particularly like the term self-care. And I think when I say I don't like the term self-care, it sounds very much like I'm going, I don't like taking care of myself, which is not what I mean. Like, it's not what I'm saying. Like, I just don't like how it's become like
It's synonymous with taking a hot bath with a bath bomb or going on a
Or taking a walk in nature. Do you know how to get over your depression and anxiety? Drink 8 pints of water a day, like it's a magic cure.
Yeah, and
it's
go on
like,
go on a walk
no.
30 minutes every day, get some exercise, and you'll feel better.
Yeah.
Cannot roll my eyes hard enough with that concept. But that's kind of what I feel like it's become, which is why I think it's a crock, because it is so much deeper than that.
Yes. And I really, really dislike those kind of like Instagram posts where they go like, take some time for self-care today, and there's like, you know, a little picture of a glass of water and some leaves and a bath and a book, and you know, and
Or
it
go get your favorite
like,
coffee at the coffee shop.
yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm fine now, thanks for that. And then but yeah, I just really, yeah, it's just become really kind of, I think, and it's a double-edged sword. Like the advantage of things like social media is it does make, you know, mental health issues, it increases the awareness of them, but it also, I think, sometimes has also increased, or maybe just, yeah, it's increased that kind of self-care piece, but I don't think it really always focuses on what it actually means and the effort it takes to be able to properly care for yourself. Like, I know I should be bathing every day, but I'm not. But do you know how like difficult it is some days just to like even think about getting out of bed? Like, it's, do you know what I mean? Like, it's, I'm not going to have a bath and then feel miraculously better, because running a bath is a really exhausting concept to start with.
Well, it's not running the bath. It's literally, for me, just getting off the freaking couch, right? It's that same concept of bed rotting. So like in the throes of my depression this past summer, I dropped the kids off at school. I came home and like I was having it rough. Somebody had sent me a Facebook message. It was really upsetting. It was not like, it was like an actual thing, not like some stupid person sending me a message. And I spent an hour and a half on the couch just trying to convince myself to get up, to drive down to my husband's work, to walk in. And I looked at him and he looked at me, and then he looked at his manager. He's like, I'm taking my lunch now, which was fantastic. But it took me an hour and a half to convince myself to get off of the couch and get in my car and drive to his work, which is 15, not 15. It's like 5 minutes away. It's not that far, you know, but I think self-care, it's not just social media that's really blowing it up. I think workplaces are doing it too, you know. I can't tell you in the ministry world how many conversations there is on ministers participating in self-care, and it's just like, this is nothing to me. Like, what do you mean? Do you mean having boundaries around my time and saying I'm only going to work 40 hours this week? And when the random people call me in the middle of the night, I'm not going to answer, because that to me is self-care. But I think it goes so much deeper than that, and saying, oh yes, I am aware of the fact that I'm experiencing depression. And so the self-care needs to actually be getting help, which is much more difficult than just taking a bath, which can be extremely difficult anyway, when you're in that state of mind.
Well, we're using the term self-care as a band-aid instead of like, we're not describing, because that band-aid would be something different for everybody if we did it correctly. Like, when you have to take care of yourself, those goals or those moments all have to be different for everyone, because there could be people out there where a cup of coffee and taking a bath and watching their favorite show could perk them up. But then we start getting into, well, that's not enough for probably the vast majority of the people self-caring. Like, it should become with like this little prescription of what your self-care would be, not what everyone else's self-care would be, because taking a walk isn't necessarily going to do anything for a lot of people. It's just going to be like, well, when I get back into the house, I have to do this, 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 and this.
Well, and
We
I
haven't
think,
told people how to self-care
I think
correctly.
maybe too, it just leads, like, self-care is kind of like the big umbrella. Like, if we are practicing those little things, on a regular basis, our mental health, in theory, should be at a better vantage point, right? And I think it's kind of also just speaking to this concept that particularly millennials grasp onto of balance and not working the 100 to 120 hours a week and just kind of having this more balance between work and life and play and fun, right? And also being a little self-indulgent and saying it's okay to be self-indulgent. It's okay for me to go and get my favorite coffee at the coffee shop every Friday because I freaking love it. And it's okay for me to take a hot bath with the bath bomb because it makes me feel good. And that's okay. And that's where I think self-care and the concept surrounding it is fantastic. Like, yes, please, let's do that. But I also think it misses like this much deeper problem and issue. And that's where it becomes kind of this quick fix band-aid where it should not be trying to patch that big of a wound or that big of a hurting.
Well, then it starts bleeding off into all these other things, like setting the boundaries. That is something that will definitely impact your like your well-being. But then we start getting into like some of the I hate to generalize, but some of the older generations were told just to lump it. And now we're starting to try to break that down and break that down. But then you've got people over here telling you need to get over it. You need to do this, you need to do that, and blah, blah, blah. Then you've got other things that are telling you need to take priority of this, this, this. And how do you blend those together without like an outline? Like how do you don't have a guide to do that because we're just telling you to do, well, let's go get a latte. That should help instead of the reason why I'm so stressed out right now is because I'm answering text messages at midnight for something I shouldn't be doing and I should put a boundary on.
I think it is like interesting, and I think it links back to a conversation we've had before about the differences in like in attitudes in different countries. Like Brits are very historically very kind of like, you know, suck it up, stiff upper lip, you don't let things, you know, it's, you know, it's not really a problem, just get over it, move on. And then I think that that's kind of now reflected in the fact that, you know, things like what we've spoken about before, like therapy and things are not, I think it's improving, but like are not as readily accepted and available, and definitely not as spoken about maybe over here compared to over there. But I think the other word that really annoys me that gets thrown in with self-care is well-being because it kind of has the same kind of like, it has the same connotations. Hey, you're really stressed at work, so we want to put an emphasis on the well-being of our employees. Great. Are you gonna, like, you know, not make us work so much or not give us mandatory overtime or whatever? No, we're putting on free yoga at lunchtime. Like, that's gonna fix all my problems. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that it's that mentality of just not, you're not addressing the issues, you're not addressing the problem. There you go.
I think it's interesting too to look at like play and fun time, you know, just because that does lead into mental health and it leads into self-care and it leads into well-being, right? Having time off from your day job and being in the US, you know, I talk to Neen Cohen frequently about this because she's over in Australia. And I mentioned, for whatever reason, that my husband only had 1 week vacation and he's only ever had 1 week vacation pretty much the entire time we've been in a relationship together. 1 week of vacation a year. And she was shocked. And she was like, it's a minimum of 4 weeks over here. And I was like, I have 4 weeks vacation, and that is rare. Like usually in the US, you get maybe 2 weeks. And she seemed shocked by that. And I was like shocked that she gets 4 weeks. And then I'm sitting there going, I don't like 4 weeks. And there's a country, I always want to say it's like Sweden or Denmark or something because they're like the ideals. That gets like 6 to 8 weeks vacation or something. You get 5?
Well, yeah, so 25 days a year. So yeah, that would work out. Yeah.
Oh, you get
5 weeks.
25 days. Oh, so okay. So to clarify, my vacation is 28 days, including 4 Sundays.
Okay.
It's literally a whole month. But then I also get a sabbatical. Like every 5 years, I get 3 months paid off. But my job is also considered mentally and emotionally taxing. So it's slightly different than working retail, although I would argue that working retail is extremely mentally and emotionally taxing. We've all seen the kids.
I think as a case manager, by the time I left, I got 14 days. I got more with being a addiction counselor. I think I got close to 3 weeks. And I thought that was great. I was like, oh, I got all these days. Holy crap. Nobody else gets these.
Well, I mean, in the US, that is fantastic. Like, that is a lot of time off. That's an insane amount of time off in the US.
Which a lot of times you have to use for sick days because you don't get paid for those. Some people don't. Some people do.
Yeah. I mean, I have 12 sick days in a year. 1 a month. But yeah, I mean, I think that leads into the balance, right, that we're trying to find when it comes to self-care. I think it really speaks to this kind of we as I think younger generation that are in the workforce right now and like in the middle of whatever career it is that we're doing, it are really just trying to find this balance of I want to be present for my family and my children. I also clearly need to make money to survive off of. And then you have lunatics like me who work a full-time job and then essentially author full-time. So I am working 80 plus hours a week at both jobs, and just kind of where to fit in all of that time and self-care.
And I think, and again, like it's a generalization, but I feel like sometimes the people who like say that they've got a really good handle on self-care and tick off all those boxes, probably not the people who have had to like drag themselves up out of bed in the morning. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then, like I say, that is a generalization, but like I find my biggest problem is that I know what I should be doing, but I always know what I should have done too late. Like when I said this before to someone else that you don't like, and no one really discusses what the baseline for good your individual good mental health is, because when you're in that place you don't think about mental health because you're just carrying on as normal, like everything's fine, like, you know. And so when I'm in that place, I will not actively think about how to stay there. I don't, do you know what I mean? Like, and then it's only when you start slowly sliding down the side of the mountain and it's too late because you're near the bottom that you kind of go, I haven't done this very well. But then it's really hard to climb back up.
Yeah, and I think we're also really good at masking, right? So, I mean, this whole year, I've been depressed, but I didn't realize that I was depressed until like August. But if I look back, like I can see the slow decline in like really starting in January, but it really started to hit in March. I can see in the end of June, early July, where I was hitting like this manic clawing at the world, like everything is normal, it's fine, it's all good stage. And then August hit and it was like, holy crapola, hello. And then I spent September and October going, okay, well, let's acknowledge this beast is here with me and climb my way back up. And I think I'm finally hitting that, which is why I'm doing everything in December, because I didn't do anything in September and October. And you think you quit Nano early? I quit on day 2. Which for me is very rare. Like I wrote that first day, I didn't even hit the 1667 or whatever. I think I hit like 1200 words. And the next day I hit like 1200 words. I was like, nope, peace out. I'm done. Like I can do something else today. I can do something else this month, something else that's going to help me get in a better mental state. And so, but the point being, we're really good at masking, right? I masked really well up until about July. And then for me, because I see patterns really well. And so I know for a fact that August and September is always a really rough time of year for me. And so I was kind of anticipating that. And it really wasn't until like the middle of September when I was like, why is this just not getting better? And so I was really good at masking up until that point. And even in some ways, I still have to mask like at work and in my life when I'm doing things, I do still have to mask and be like, yeah, everything's fine. It's all good and hunky dory. And so it's useful, but it can also be a real hindrance in terms of my own self-awareness.
Whenever the lows hit, I don't know in the moment. I don't know why, but it never hits until I guess they start lifting a little bit. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that happened. And I don't know why, but it just never occurs to me in the moment. The reason why things just seem to be like walking in quicksand is, why don't I have the motivation to do this? Why is everything so exhausting? Why is everything so overwhelming? And it's just, oh, well, that's just life. And it's not, oh, there's something else going on until afterwards. And then I feel like an idiot because it's like, we've done this before.
That's where patterns come in handy, assuming
Yeah.
I'm self-aware enough to recognize them.
Yeah.
A whole different aside. Denial is
That's a whole other podcast. Just but yeah. See what you need is like a really obvious physical sign that you've got massively overwhelmed, which is what happens with me because I will mask. I will feel myself like slowly slipping into a really anxious, overwhelmed state and will not tell anyone. Or maybe not tell the people who should really know. and then I get to a point where I like my muscles, like literally it's physically held in my muscles. And then I twitch. And it's hilarious to watch, but it's also a really good pointer when my partner then goes, okay, what's wrong with you? Because I've had at times lay down in bed because I'm like trying to stop and failing miserably. And then twitch so hard I punch them. And then they go, what's wrong with you?
It's kind of amazing what partners can see that you don't see. I feel really good about myself when I recognize it in my own partner. And then when he recognizes it with me, I'm just like, we could not.
Do you do the instant kind of no? I think you're reading too much into that. And then you go away like, damn it. So I thought I was doing really well.
I did that the other morning. I don't know if I told you guys about it, but we were both, him and I woke up at 3:00 in the morning. Just woke up. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like ready for the day to start. And it was like, what the heck is going on? And so then I was trying to go back to sleep once I realized what time it actually was. And he was just like snuggling up and holding on to me. And he's like, why can't you sleep? And I was like, I don't know. And then he looks, well, he didn't look at me because he was behind me. But then he goes, what is it that you don't feel safe about? And I was like, oh. I was like, nothing. It's fine. And then
in the morning, you just got hit with a sledgehammer.
I was like, I had some choice words that I can't say on the podcast, but I didn't say them out loud. I said them in my head, and I was just like, why are you so astute and real? And why you like that's not cool, but you are accurate and you are correct in that in this moment. That's why I'm awake, is because I don't feel safe enough to sleep. And it was a real light bulb moment for me to then try and figure out why I didn't feel safe because I had been asleep and then woken up, which again is a whole different aside, but it allowed me to have this moment of probably real self-care, of starting to dive deeper into what was bothering me and kind of figure out some of what that was. But yeah, I'm still mad he asked that question. It's like, well, I had a chance of going back to sleep, but now I don't. Thank you. Have any last words about self-care, or maybe just what's a better way to think about self-care in general?
I think it needs to be more personalized. And by doing that, you have to actually look within yourself and see what is affecting. I know what is affecting.
Self-reflection.
What is affecting you. I'm really good about looking at everything but myself. Really good at it. Really, really good at it. So then you think, do I really want to do that right now? Because it's going to disrupt my day. And yeah, self-care isn't just a quick walk around the block.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just remembering that oftentimes real self-care is deeper than those quick fixes. The quick fixes are nice and they're useful, but real self-care is a bit more involved and a
Hard
bit
work.
deeper, and it is hard work, but also useful and rewarding work when actually done. What about you?
That was a really nice sign off. You can finish it off there.
It's like that. You didn't share what you think is a better way to think about self-care.
What, I don't need to, because you've so like astutely said it yourself.
Oh, avoidance.
But that's because I'm rubbish at self-care. So
I
yeah,
don't
I think it needs to.
I don't think you're as rubbish at it as you think you are, because you have messaged and said, this is what I'm doing right now because this is what I can handle, right? And that's self-care.
Yeah, and I am getting better at it, and I'm being more proactive about it, because I have found myself in situations this year where I've been able to recognize that things have not been good, and that I have a choice, and it's either we can just soldier on and just push through it and hope that everything gets better, and tick off another thing on that never ending to-do list of all those different responsibilities that we have, and or I can actually make a decision to take some time, and to take that time in order to proactively do something to hopefully help in the long run. But it wasn't taking a bath.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't drinking a lot of water, and it wasn't taking a walk in nature.
Although I will say I keep seeing these ads because I do enjoy baths, and I keep seeing these ads for these shower steamers, and they're like, when you don't give an F, like that's the name of the particular shower steamer. When you don't give an F, when you're done with crap, although obviously using the curse words. And I keep sending it to my husband, like, please buy me this. I want. They're pretty awesome. Anyway. You want to take us out today?
Let's just see where we go with this. Okay, folks, that's all for our latest episode of Bookish and Unbalanced. We also want to thank our listeners for tuning in and listening to our rambles. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons to keep up to date with our latest episodes. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. Until next time, take care out there. And remember, we are all in this together. Did anybody else remember their paper?
Today's a good day.